Welcome back to another episode of the Look Around podcast, where we look around at the people and places that make our city so amazing. We're here in Topeka, Kansas. Wherever you are, whatever city you're in, we encourage you to look around and invest in your city as well. My name is John Griffith, and I'm here with my new friend, Pedro Concepcion.
You got it.
I get it?
Yeah, you got it right.
Owner, operator of The Wheelbarrow here in Noto, North Topeka. But I'm finding out you do way more than just run a restaurant.
Yeah, I do quite a bit, yeah.
Well, dude, thanks for hosting us. We're right here in the middle of The Wheelbarrow. I'm sure most people have been here before, but if you haven't, man, it's an amazing place. So, dude, thanks for hosting us. Thanks for being on the Look Around podcast. Man, and especially despite we've been having some technical difficulties. As you can see, we're recording on iPhones, not on these are props. So, which my friend Ryan's probably mad that I pointed that out, but here we are. We had some technical difficulties, but man, expecting this to be a great time. So, Pedro, man, thanks so much for your time. Maybe let's just start. How'd you get into the restaurant business?
It's a lot. I'll give you the short version. I'm a middle child. My family.
We're going all the way back.
Yeah, I needed to learn how to cook because of necessity.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
The older brothers were working, the younger ones were just too young. So my mom was like, well, you're going to have to learn how to cook. So I started learning how to cook, and I just fell in love with it.
Wow.
I just loved how you can change things up, how you can, add spices or add sugar or add vinegars, and it'll just change a dish. So I just fell in love with it. And
wow.
In Chicago, I ended up enrolling in a culinary art school, and then it just went from there.
Dang. How many siblings do you have?
5.
So how did you end up being like the one who cooks?
Yeah.
How did that happen? Were you like 8 years old? Like, all right, 10, family, sit 10, down, I'm making dinner.
I was 10. I was voluntold. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So did everyone have like household tasks?
Yeah.
Like someone was taking out the trash, yours was making dinner.
So my parents had 2 jobs. My older brothers, they didn't go to college, but they were working full time.
Sure.
So everybody had to do something. So by the time my parents got home, the house had to be clean and dinner had to be done and our homework had to be done.
Wow.
So all of that had to be done. So we were like on time crunch.
Dang, dude.
So I had the little ones clean the house while I prepped food, and then dinner was ready, house was clean, my parents would come in and they pretty much eat, check our homework, and then knock out, and it was just every day.
Wow.
I mean, we grew up pretty poor, so my parents had to work 2 jobs to sustain us and stuff like that. So everybody had to chip in. So my way of chipping in was I had to make food and cook and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow. Dude, that's awesome, man. I mean, you just learned the like diligence of just like working and producing something. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, we my parents taught us we grew up pretty quick. I mean, even when we went to wash clothes, my mom would give us a bag of quarters, and pretty much we had the right amount to do one load and dry it once. But then we got smart, and I told my brothers, if we get all of our clothes together and we use one big load, we'll have extra change to use for video games. And when
you're not like starting your side business like you're on the side, like,
yeah,
let's invest our quarters.
Right. And everybody's like, you're right. And it was a discount for the big machine. So we ended up playing video games. And my mom one day walks in there, what are you guys doing? We're like, laundry's done, it's okay. And she's like, well, I'm not even gonna be mad at you. You figure it out. You work the system, so okay, fine.
Wow.
So, yeah, we learned to hustle, and honestly take advantage of the resources you have. So
yeah. Dang, I feel like you're just like spitting like rich dad, poor dad at me. Like I was like, dang, bro, you've lived it.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. My parents sometimes it's now that I look back, it's kind of sad, but they never made us feel like we grew up poor.
That's awesome.
My mom had this mentality about even our clothes had to be clean. We had to take a shower, everything. Like, my mom used to always say, you're poor, not dirty. Like, it's a big difference. Like, you need to shower, you need to look good, you need to be presentable. We're struggling financially, but you need to look good.
Wow.
So she taught us to always, making sure we took care of ourselves and stuff like that. And I think that just stayed in me of, making sure that, as you build a business or something, you got to take care of as much as you can.
It's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so you grew up in Chicago, learned to cook. You're responsible for meals at age 10.
Yes.
That's amazing. I feel like I should confess, I didn't really learn how to cook till like I was an adult. I hear at 10 years old, you're like developing this passion for the culinary arts.
Yeah.
And that's kind of amazing. So then, were you like 18? You went to culinary school?
Yeah, I went to the Art Institute of Chicago.
Cool.
I actually wanted to become a lawyer first.
Wow.
I went with my girlfriend at the time. We were enrolling in Robert Morris College to be lawyers. I guess that's your start at law. And then this guy walked in with the chef hat. And I'm like, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's a new culinary program, blah, blah, blah. And we don't have one here, but the Art Institute has one. And I looked at my girlfriend at the time and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go check it out. And then I went over there and I enrolled and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was that like grueling? Was it difficult? Was it opening your eyes to things? What was that like?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I feel like I wouldn't say college was a waste of time. I feel like everybody should go to college, but I feel like everybody should go to gain that experience of like there's opportunities, even if you don't finish. Because honestly, I didn't finish. I went to college. I had a full-time job. I was helping my parents pay their mortgage. You know, I almost crashed on the freeway trying to. I thought I could do 2 full-time jobs while going to college.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like, it'll be fine. I had 3 hours of sleep a day. It's good.
Oh no.
And I remember one day I kind of fell asleep on the freeway and I was like, okay, I gotta quit one. And then I quit one job, but my parents got sick and I couldn't. They needed more help.
Sure.
Thankfully, I ranked high in my class and I told my teacher, you know what, I can't finish. So she gave me a recommendation for a really cool restaurant in Chicago, and I started learning there and just started going. But I like college. I feel like coming from a very poor environment, I would have if I didn't go, I would have never got to see and meet the people that were there. You know, because the Art Institute of Chicago had all these programs that I wouldn't say they were free, but you can walk into the classes. You know, you can experience a little bit of everything. So I feel like everybody should go and experience a little bit of everything. You know, trying to see that it's not just your little bubble. There's more adventure out there. There's a lot more things that you can see, enjoy, like, dislike. So college for me was kind of one of those like eye openers of like there's more than just your neighborhood. If that makes sense. And it kind of made me hungry and made me see like, well, you can do all of this. Why can't I?
Sure.
You know, so I started trying to figure out how all these people did things and got ahead and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like showing you a world outside of the world you grew up in a little bit.
Yeah, but I think even when I talk to people, Hispanics, I feel like if you grew up poor, you have this mentality that there's always, you will be a great manager at the gas station. You will be a great factory operator.
Sure.
You will be these, and these are glorified positions.
Huh.
I feel like we need to break the chain and let them know there's more than that. Why can't you own the factory? Why can't you own the business that you were working at?
So there's like a ceiling on what your expectations are in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody really, I feel like, understand, or the generation is just, they were there because they poly-immigrated.
Sure.
They got labor, they work that involved a lot of labor. In their eyes, they couldn't be doctors.
Yeah.
But their kids can. So it's like to tell them that being a manager is, right here.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you're shortchanging them.
Well, I've heard a lot of like immigrant families will talk about how they kind of achieved the dream by getting to America.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the dream. And so, here you are standing on the shoulders of your parents, like, no, the dream can be bigger than that. Yeah, that's wild. So it was college that kind of opened your eyes to like, hey, maybe I could do more than what I thought.
Yeah, I met everybody. I mean, I met people from all over the world, that were there for different types of things. And it's funny because everybody had their own version of what they wanted, but I still understand that everybody grew differently, and there were people that they're only on scholarships and they didn't even just like me, we didn't have a lot of money, but they made it work.
Yeah.
And some of them are still very good friends with me, and everything's achievable. I feel like if you actually put some effort into it, or what I like to say, do it with intent. Don't just do things just because. Do it with intent, and hopefully you have a goal and accomplishment, and usually it'll work out. And if not, you'll learn something off of it, and then, you're good. I'm a big believer that you have to fail to succeed.
Yeah.
So, you have to do it. And if you fail, cool. Now you know what not to do, hopefully.
Sure.
And now you can be better. You're never going to have everything perfect. It's ridiculous to think that somebody's perfect.
Yeah.
We're always getting better.
Where'd you learn that? Where'd you learn because I feel like that's, not many people get that, because failure is like, it's a threat to my existence. But you're saying, no, failure is like, it's part of the process of getting better. And
in the kitchen.
Really?
Because when you make a dish, if you added too much salt, you're like, oh my God, I ruined it. But then the chef will come here and be like, you know what, if you add bread to it or soak up the salt, it'll be fine. Let's move ahead. Oh, the sauce is too thin. Well, if you add a roux, it'll thicken it up and stuff like that. Failure is not necessarily failure. It's just a way of you learning something. Like, if I didn't fail on the sauce, I didn't know that a roux can make things thicker. You know, that a vinaigrette, if you add more oil slowly, it'll thicken the vinaigrette, you know, and so on and so on. Like, if I didn't see the failures, I would never understand that there was a solution for it. So failure shouldn't be just a failure. It's just a step of you learning.
Wow.
You know, so it's like, so I encourage it. Honestly, people that work under me and stuff like that, when they mess up, I tell them straight up, I would fire you if you don't tell me that you mess up.
Wow.
Like, if you messed up and you came to me and told me, yeah, I made a mistake. Okay, cool. This is how you don't do it again.
Wow.
This is how we learn. But if you try to hide it, if you try to serve the person the food or give something out that you knew was wrong.
Oh, snap.
To me, that's worse.
Wow.
Because you're just putting something out there and it's an inferior product. And honestly, to me, it speaks a lot about who you are.
Sure.
You know, you weren't willing to actually acknowledge the failure, understand the failure, and move on. And to me, like I was telling my friend, I want to build leaders. You know, I want to build people that understand their failure is okay. And if you don't think that's okay, then, you know, I want to say I don't have time for you, but then it'll be a little harder for me to teach you.
Well, you're kind of like this. You're kind of counting yourself out of the process because failure is part of the process. You're saying, hey, I'm not willing to like learn and grow. Man, I mean, young people, you need to be like writing this down. This is like valuable leadership development right here, man. This is great. Okay, so I want people to get a more full picture of how involved in the city of Topeka and the development of Topeka you've been. So you get through culinary school, or you said you dropped out or something like that. How did you get from there to Topeka, Kansas?
I met Simon Bates at a catering company called Food for Thought.
In Chicago?
In Chicago, yeah. He used to have a band and play music. That was his real dream.
Nice.
You know, I think he actually did an album. I can relate. I think he did an album, and I remember he used to say, we were big in Costa Rica. You know, and I was like, that's awesome, man. And then he's like, yeah, but you know, that doesn't pay the bills. So he moved to Chicago, I believe, to kind of start the music, but it didn't work out so well.
Nice.
So his second passion was food. So one day he was telling me, hey, I'm from Kansas. I think I'm going to go back and open a burger joint. And I was like, okay, man, good luck. Good for you. You know, awesome. Let me know how it goes. Then about 8 months later, he called me. He's like, I need help. Can you come? Just check it out. And I came to Kansas, and I fell in love with it. I feel like Chicago is so busy. I feel like you have to go, have 2-3 jobs to make ends meet. It's never nonstop. I feel like it's always going. You know, and here in Kansas, I feel like you can work and then breathe, and then kind of calm down and breathe. I feel like the pace of how Kansas is a lot better, or I thought. So we came, and then he helped me. I helped him with the burger stand, and it grew. Okay,
so this is for locals, the burger stand. Like, this is not a burger restaurant. This is the burger stand. Now, I went to KU. I was a student at KU, and I didn't realize at the time you were starting the burger stand in a restaurant called Dempsey's.
Yeah.
And I remember visiting as a student and just like, man, these fries are the most amazing fries I've ever had in my life. You know what I mean? This is amazing. Yeah. So, I mean, and the burger stand is like a staple, not only in Lawrence, but in Topeka now, too.
Yeah, I think it all started with Simon and Robert Krause.
Wow.
Robert Krause was a really known chef in Lawrence.
Wow.
I think he's one of the best Midwestern chefs, I think, or something.
So was he a part of other restaurants as well? Like
he owned, I think, a couple. He owned his own like little private restaurant in Lawrence. It was I forgot it was in New Hampshire, but it was like a glass restaurant, probably like a speakeasy, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Very high end. So he did that, and then he helped Simon kind of develop the burger stand. I think he was the business side of it. Simon was kind of the talent. And then Simon needed help, so recruited me, and then eventually it just grew up, and I became partner.
Wow.
And then Topeka, the conversation Topeka started. And at first everybody's like, don't do it, it's a waste of time. But we wanted to prove to people that, you know, we had a great product and we wanted to expand it.
Wow.
But yeah, Robert was, I think, the driving force for the business side of it. And me and Simon we just love creating. So,
wow.
We just like building things, and yeah.
So you got brought in to help like with the menu side of it and creating the burgers, the fries, the whole kind of concept. How did you get from, so then you expand and you were part owner of the Topeka venue as well. How long were you doing that before you ventured out into other things?
I think it was about 3 years. I decided I wanted to leave, and then at first I did like a sandwich shop. It was called Boca Cafe. I love sandwiches, and then I ended up building it. But then I got really sick. I got cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it was stomach cancer too. So it's kind of ironic. I got stomach
brutal.
cancer, and then I sold everything that I had because they gave me like a timeline. They're like, it's you're in a bad shape. I was being too ambitious, and that's what I want to tell people. You need to kind of stop and breathe. In my mind is, if I have 3 restaurants that are grossing $500,000 each, I should be fine, whatever. I will retire at 30. And I opened 3 restaurants in less than a year, which is insane.
Wow, that is insane.
I overdid it. It was, I think, stress, everything. I collapsed in one of the restaurants, and then they're like, "Did you know you had stomach cancer?" And I'm like, "Oh, like what?" Like I thought they were just ulcers, and they're like, "No, you've been." And then everything kind of hit me. They're like,
Wow.
"You've been spitting blood, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh
And
my
they're like,
goodness.
"Have you had pains here, here, and here?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes." They're like, "Yeah, you have tumors that are growing really bad, and it's not looking very good." And I'm like, "Well, sorry." It's like,
No, it's all good, man.
yeah, I was like, and it hit me really hard. Like I neglected a lot of people through that time. My family, my girlfriend at the time. Now I understood that she did a lot for me, but because I wanted to work so much, because I wanted to build an empire, I was just like, we'll travel later, we'll do this later, we'll do this
Sure.
later, and we did have money, but it didn't mean anything.
No
anymore.
time.
I was gonna die, so it didn't mean anything anymore.
Wow.
So then I
Do
decided.
you mind if
to
I
say-
ask, like, what was the timeline they were giving you?
They gave me between 4 to 8 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, apparently it ate a lot of my stomach already. And yeah, I mean, now that I think
How long
about
ago
it,
was this?
6 years, I would say, maybe.
Wow.
7, no, wow, more, probably like 8 years now.
So 2015,
Around
16?
there, yeah. around
Wow.
there, yeah. And then I left. I told my family that if I was going to die, I wanted to travel. And my dad's like, okay, go for it. And then I left. I left with my best friend, Anna. She's an ER nurse. And we traveled everywhere we could that said that you had a cure for cancer. So we ate bugs, we ate grass, we ate mud, we did a lot of other things.
Wait, so you went basically vacationed in spots that had like local like foods or
Yeah.
things that would have been like natural
Yeah.
healing kind of things?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, we went everywhere. Hawaii, we went South America, went all over the United States, eating and trying everything. I mean, at one point I was taking smoothies with like live bugs. They were like, "This will cure you, $80 and a couple
Oh
of berries,"
my
and I'm like,
gosh.
"All right." And I did everything that I tried everything. I even ate frogs and licked frogs, and yeah, it was
Oh my
it was
gosh.
interesting. It was very interesting.
Where did you lick frogs at?
Puerto Rico?
Wow.
Yeah, there was.
Where your
this-
friend's rock band was so big.
Yeah. It was just. I felt like, I don't know. I wanted to try. I mean, why not? I was like, sure, I'll try it. I mean, I used to joke with my friend Anna. It's not like it's gonna kill me,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and they
wow.
were just trying everything. But
Wow.
after the 5th month, she started telling me that she noticed an improvement in me. And I
Wow.
was like, I don't know if it's your state of mind. I don't know what it is, but you look a little better.
Wow.
So we decided to go back to Chicago, and I ended up doing radiation and chemo, and it started regressing. And they didn't know what it was. And I even told my best friend, like, we should have wrote everything. We found the cure.
I know. Oh yeah, like kept track.
Yeah, but I honestly think that
It was the bug smoothie, man.
That's what my dad says. My dad said it was the bugs. He claims it was the bugs. I really feel though I learned a lot when I was sick and traveling with her that being alone was okay.
Mm.
Like I left. I remember she was with me and she wouldn't let me go out, but I snuck out. I went to restaurants by myself. I went to movies by myself. I started understanding that being alone is not bad. Now, understanding my time was valuable, and I reflected a lot that I needed a lot to learn. And I feel like that really helped my sickness. I feel like I don't know how to describe it, and I actually was telling one of my fiance's friends. The minute they told me you had this much time was the minute that I just stopped caring.
Wow.
I was like, whatever, it's done. Whatever. I guess I don't have to pay my student loans.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
everything just lifted, and
Wow.
I felt
Like the pressure to build an empire.
oh yeah,
and all those
everything.
things.
I felt like weightless. I felt like it didn't matter. Like you
Wow.
want to go jump off this sketchy bungee jump thing? Sure, why not? Let's go do it.
Yeah.
I really felt that feeling less pressure, less stress, less everything. I think that was a key factor.
Wow.
I really think that was a key factor, and my family being there as well. It was a key factor that I took for granted, I guess. And yeah, I think leaving the stress and just I wouldn't say you shouldn't care about anything, but you shouldn't care too much about things.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Like to me, it seems like kind of what you're saying is like you're grinding. Basically, you're grinding your own life into the dust for in pursuit of a dream at the expense of one, your own health, two, like your relationship with your family, and how really like if you don't have the right like rhythms in place in your life, of like, hey, you need to slow down sometimes, and hey, you need to like rest and make sure your body gets what it needs, and you need to make sure you're investing in the relationships with people that you really care about, then this is gonna sabotage everything. Is that kind of what?
Yeah, I think.
Like some of
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I think one of our there's this kid that was at the office, and he just came to me. He's like, "Are you rich?" And I was like, "Define rich." I'm like, "What does rich mean to you?"
Wow.
Like seriously, like what does rich mean to you? Like, and then he just looks at me, and I was like, I don't drive a Mercedes. I don't drive a Lamborghini. I was like, but I've learned that having the extra time to step away from work a week and going to visit my family, that's rich to me.
Wow.
Having the time to go out with my fiance when she feels down and just with no regard of money, going to a restaurant and being like, let's go to make her happy, that to me was rich.
Wow.
If I had enough money to take out my fiance out at any given moment when she felt bad, to me, I made it.
Wow.
If I can hop on a plane to Chicago right now because my mom felt ill, I made it. I don't necessarily need to have millions of dollars in order for me to feel rich now. Because honestly, I've been there. I mean, the burger stand paid me very well. I mean, I've had money. I've had no money.
Sure.
I've been in between. And I feel like money is subjective, and the word rich is very subjective to who you ask. I mean, there's people that are poor that are happy. I mean, truly happy.
So
truly happy.
So true.
And there are people that are filthy rich that when you tell them, have you talked to your parents? Have you talked to anybody? And and I feel like those certain people like that, they built and built and built to build that to cover that void. But they don't realize that they usually have everything there. But I guess it's just how everybody grew up. What do you want to accomplish? And I feel like when somebody says that, like, are you rich? Like, I feel like it's just subjective. Like, what do you consider rich? Just being here in Topeka, doing this thing, making sure that I have time to do this to me is rich. And having my health.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I've been in those rooms where everybody was doing chemo and, they put their little thing here and some of them didn't make it and I made it.
Wow.
So like, yeah, I guess I am rich in that I'm still here. So So I think we when we say things like that,
it's kind of a second chance.
It really
is. Movies about stuff like that where it's like the whole point of the movie is like, hey, make the most out of your time. Like realize the quality of the gift that you've been given. I mean, it's kind of what you experience where it's like, hey, second chance. I'm not going to do this the same way I did before, right?
Yeah, and I actually take priorities now with family. Like even this restaurant, the chef that I brought in. He got let go from another place, and he was like, I'm just tired of working for other people and stuff. I'm like, look, man, I don't need to have the whole pie. I was like, as long as I have a slice, I'm completely fine. So if you come work for me, I'll give you ownership of the restaurant.
Wow.
That way you can work for something. I know you're a hard worker. I know you just have a baby. I know that you're going to do well here, and I don't necessarily need to make all this money.
Wow.
If I can help you move forward, then by all means. And I think that's the new generation. I feel like this generation understood or woke up thinking like, oh, I don't want to work for this person because they treat me bad, to do all of this. And it's up to now us employers and business owners to understand the new generation that if they are really hard workers, I mean, you're gonna have to bring them in. Wow. Not just by a hourly age, but maybe offer them a percentile of the restaurant, percentile of the business. And I guarantee you they'll work harder.
Wow.
So I started to understand that model, and my fiance does the same way. When she hires somebody at a salon, She starts them at hourly wage, but she has a 6-month plan with them. Then we get them an accountant. Then we show them how to pay taxes, and then they're good to run their own business.
Wow.
Like I told her, we need to stop building hourly employees, and we need to start building careers for these people. Because it's not just going to benefit us; it's going to benefit the city.
Dude, that's incredible.
And that's
really incredible.
That's honestly the reality. I mean, there's servers here, there's cooks here that if they're good, I understand they're going to leave. A good employee usually has ambitions, and we're going to move on. Why don't you offer them that ambition? Why don't you be transparent with him and say, look, here are the books. This is how much we're making. But if we grow this company, we'll grow together, and maybe we open a second location, and that could be yours.
Wow.
Then the mentality changes. Instead of leaving, now you're invested. So it's like, I feel like as mentors, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, I think we need to start teaching people that, you're worth it, and I want to make sure I take care of you, and I want to build you. You're just not an employee. We have to start building careers, I feel like.
Yeah, you're not just like a cog in the machine. Man, that's incredible. Man, I love that, dude, because it's you're looking around at multiplying the effect of what you've done. It's like, hey, I built this business or this restaurant or maybe these restaurants, but the future is investing in people and leaders, and you're really investing a piece of yourself in each of those people that you're teaching and empowering in how to start a business. You're giving them ownership. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, because honestly, we're gonna go away.
Yeah.
What right now there's momentum in Topeka, right?
Sure.
What happens if the momentum stops? Do we go back? Do we not grow? Do we stay stagnant? If we don't teach our new generation and this generation to keep going, that it's just gonna stop. And it's ludicrous to think that I can do everything.
Sure.
That I can own everything. That's just ridiculous.
And you learned that lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. It's
Yeah.
really exhausting. Entrepreneurship alone is exhausting. I feel like we need to start building the new generation and show them the ropes. Like, this isn't easy. Like, you see me going in and out. I probably went to Chicago, but this is what it took working here. How to pay taxes, how to do this and stuff like that. I think if people start really realizing what it takes, maybe they understand either do it or not do it. And by all means, I feel like everybody does their own thing. Some people are not built to be business owners.
Sure.
Some people are great workers and they just want to be workers. They just want to, clock in, clock out.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's great too.
Maybe capacity is different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's in lifestyles and stuff like that. I always tell people when they're like, hey, I think I'm going to go to Nashville. Yeah, go for it. If you're young, go for it. You have no kids, go for it. Go experience, go make mistakes. I joked down with one of our waiters. He's like, oh, I think I'm going to go this, but I feel like I'm going to mess up. I'm like, you're 22. I'm like, don't do this, but you can destroy your life, rebuild your life, come back again, try. And I said, try, and don't take this the wrong way. I'm like, try and be an artist and then come back and then do something different.
Yeah.
I'm like, go do it.
Like, you have time to figure it out.
You have time. Don't take things so seriously.
So, a big theme of what you're talking about, and really that you've lived, is don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
The bigger mistake is not going for it than hanging back, being afraid to make a mistake, right? Is that...
Yeah, because you probably understand this. You would always wonder the why. What would have happened?
Yeah, the regret.
Yeah. And I think that kills people because let's say you'd stayed in Kansas or they didn't go to New York. You always wonder like, oh, I would have made it in New York. I would have been so big. That would have stayed with you forever and it might haunt you. So go try it out. If you're successful, great. Maybe you come back to Kansas and build something too.
Yeah.
You should try it. But also don't just go with nothing. Try and make a plan. Try and do something.
Get some wise. Get a guy like Pedro to give you some good advice.
Yeah.
Some wisdom before you leave.
I think honestly it's just homework, and I think just talking to people. I think mentorship is very important, and do your homework, resources. Here in Topeka alone, you have so many resources that people don't understand. From Go Topeka to Go Topeka Partnership to Kansas. There's a lot of information out there. Even if, like you, for example, like all this equipment, if you have an LLC or a nonprofit or things like that, Go Topeka. If you start your business and you meet your deadlines and guidelines, they'll give you up to $5,000 for your equipment.
There you go, Ryan. I know
Now-
what we're doing after this.
Now, to be completely honest, you have to put. Let's say you spend $5,000, they'll give you $2,000, $500.
Sure.
But who does that?
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, and it goes for marketing, it goes for equipment, it goes
Yeah.
for infrastructure.
Wow.
Topeka's invested in their talent right now, and
Mhm.
I think we need to take advantage of that. So we need to start telling people take advantage of these programs because if we don't use them, they'll go away.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
know,
so
yeah.
just say some of those again. So, like, if someone's wanting to start a business and
Yeah.
they're scared they don't have the resources, what are some of those
Go
places
to
again?
Topeka.
Go to Topeka.
Go to Topeka. If you go to the website, you can go on the tab that says "Build Here," and then it'll drop down and it'll say incentives.
Okay.
And then you can qualify for, downtown incentives or Shawnee County incentives
Wow.
or small business incentives. And it explains there. It
Wow.
says you don't even have to have a business. If you're starting a business too, like don't be afraid that all this money is just for established business. That is not true.
Wow, yeah.
You can start your LLC. You can plead your case that you need, let's say a restaurant, right? I need tables and chairs, and I'm going to spend $10,000 on everything. If you meet the deadlines and follow their criteria, they can give you up to $5,000 back.
Wow.
And we'd help the businesses down here, and probably like 7 or 8 businesses down here did it.
Wow.
And then our company helps people start kind of like understanding how to write a grant, how to write these applications, understand deadlines that are very important.
That's your company?
Mhm.
The
Kid Solutions.
Kid Solutions.
Yeah. So
cool.
and we work with Glenda Washington, which she is the chef with the executive chief, I think, for that program.
Cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of programs out there, and then there's group like Forge or Topeka Latino Professionals, TOP, that want to help people find these things.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you go to some of those businesses they close, and they're like, "Well, I never heard of that."
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they do a good job on incentivizing entrepreneurs to, give them an extra push.
Wow.
But that also comes with, I'm going to give you this money, but you need to understand this money needs to go to the restaurant.
Sure.
It's not to buy a car.
Yeah.
It's for payroll. It's for this. I mean, COVID was a prime example. COVID was horrible, right? I understand it was crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you did things right, a lot of people got a lot of money from COVID.
Wow.
From PP loans, from grants, from
Oh,
the government.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I know businesses that actually are better
Wow.
because COVID happened, because their cities decided to invest in their small businesses.
Wow.
So they started giving out loans, and some of them were expunged. Some of them were,
Mhm.
you borrowed $20,000 from the government, but the government said, "All right, you paid your bills, you did good. Don't pay me back whatever's left."
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's just say you took out $50,000 of loan and you only used $20,000. The government said, "Hey, great job. You paid your bills. You did everything. You're doing everything as a gift for us. Don't pay us back."
Yeah.
So now you have $30,000.
That's amazing.
So a lot of people took advantage of that. They grabbed the $30,000. They reinvested in their business. They grew their business. They're in a better spot now.
Mm.
But you had to do things right. You had to
Yeah.
get informed. You had to do your taxes. You had to make sure you proved the government that all these things were there. So a lot of people, did very well. A lot of people didn't, and they lied and they got punished or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
But I feel
Like the Lakers apply for like a small business loan.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're like, wait,
Small.
how big is the Lakers organization?
Well, there was certain. I mean, I heard you heard the stories. People
Yeah,
got
yeah.
the PP loans and bought boats. And
Yeah,
Corvettes and all of this stuff. And
Well, it's the
like,
same as like college students getting their scholarship and then buying a car or a bunch of. You're like, now you still owe the school. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing with that money? Like that's
exactly. So it's like I feel like we just have to do. At the end of the day, whatever you decide to do, do your homework.
yeah,
If who said it? I forgot his name. He owns the Mavericks. Whatever. Yeah, Mark Cuban. Yeah, I was like, if you decide to be a painter, you need to do your research about painters. How do they make money? What are statistics about surviving as a painter? You need to be the best. You need to be very knowledgeable of what it takes to be a painter. It's
Sure.
not just talent. I mean, it's luck, it's talent, it's chances, it's all this. I mean, people tell you, "Oh, I have a great business plan. I'm going to succeed." That's a lie. It's a lie. It's luck. It's being prepared. It's taking chances. It's all of the above.
Mm.
You can't just be like, "Oh yeah, I have money and I'm going to build a business and I'll be great." I mean, I know people that had money, put a lot of money into their restaurants or their business owners, and then they closed
Wow.
because they didn't understand.
Yeah.
So just do your
Yeah,
homework.
money's not the only.
No, it's
issue,
not.
for sure.
It's not. You need to do your homework and understand why you're doing it. I mean, you
Wow.
truly need to understand why you're doing certain things.
Okay, so you obviously been fairly successful here in Topeka and around. You were at the Burger Stand. You currently own the Wheelbarrow, but in between that, you've been very involved in probably most of the restaurants that Topekans like downtown and in Noto, right?
I mean, not to dish on any of my other, I like a lot of the restaurants here in Topeka. Yeah, I mean,
You can dig on chains, you know, like anything local. Then you support local, but like
chains are actually, I feel like, going away. I think they're scared now. No, I mean, I had the privilege and I had the chance to work with a lot of private investors and people that saw that Topeka was going through this renaissance. So I had the privilege to work with them to build concepts for Topeka. You know, like Pennant, T-Box, Brewbank, Norseman, the juice shop, even here.
Wait, go ahead. Is there any more? Just list them all out.
So it's like Noto, Burrito, Boca Cafe, and I help with Burger Stand as well. And we also help mentor other people like Los Mandiles Rojos, Rosie's Tamales, El Changarro, like all these other restaurants that needed that extra push.
Yeah.
You know, and some of it honestly was pro bono. The people that couldn't pay us, I mean, I just want to make sure they do well.
Sure.
And I want to make sure that I eat their food because I'm like, if you go away, I won't be able to get.
Yeah, exactly.
So and I feel like I need to get more involved to making sure that we create opportunities that I understood where the opportunities was. So if somebody asked me about something, I was able to give them the information. You know, and that's kind of what I did. I worked with Greater Topeka Partnership. I do a lot of their service to understand what's going on. And I try to help as many people as I can. I feel like anybody can really do, I wouldn't say anybody can really do what I did. You just have to go do it.
Yeah.
You know, because honestly, most of the stuff is out there. You can go to Tuesdays, I think, at 6 o'clock, a city council meeting. You know, you can go to, it's free. You can just go up there, sit down, and hear about all the things that are going to Topeka. From the road constructions to a new program that's about to be voted on. You can go and listen. Or you can tune in on TV.
Yeah.
But what are you doing at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's really up to you.
Yeah.
You know, so I started seeing the chances.
I'm usually pretty busy watching TikTok videos while I eat my dinner.
TikToks are good. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on TikTok. Oh, shoot. There's a lot of good stuff on TikTok, too.
Yeah.
But again, you're watching probably TikToks about other podcasts.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm saying most people are not that busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, man, I know your time is precious. You got a lot going on. And we really appreciate you just carving out some slice of your schedule, man. I really appreciate it. Honestly, I kind of want to just like honor you really quick too, because we've done like 6 or 7 interviews at this point. I'm pretty sure literally every single person that we've talked to was like, "Oh, bro, you have to talk to Pedro." Like we talked to David Vincent, whose interview drops tomorrow as of this recording. He's like, "Bro, you got to talk to Pedro." Aaron, like 2 weeks later, "Yeah, you got to talk to Pedro." Like 5 people in a row were like, "Bro, you got to talk to Pedro." I was like, "Man, who's this Pedro guy? Like, we need to meet this Pedro guy." So, man, I just kind of want to affirm, like, bro, like, you're making an impact in people's lives, and in the city of Topeka. Oh, you're good, bro. You're good. Yeah, you're good. But you're making an impact in people's lives, man, not just with the businesses you're starting, but, man, other businesses, you know, are being encouraged and inspired by what you're doing. You know, the wisdom that you're giving out, whether through your consulting firm or just as a friend, you know, kind of mentoring people. It's like really making a difference. And I think there really is a lot of people in Topeka who are seeing how amazing Topeka is becoming. I mean, that's part of the reason we're doing this podcast is for, you know, to try to keep that momentum going, to show people, you know, and we didn't really have time to get into this, but I mean, there's a lot of people who are really down on Topeka, regardless of some of the amazing places. You know what I mean? There's a lot of really great things that are starting to happen. Yes, there's crime and there's, you know, negative things as well, but there's a lot of momentum of positive things that are being developed. But a lot of people who grew up here have a really hard time seeing that. And they're just like, no, Topeka sucks. It'll always suck. You know, like, it doesn't matter what anyone does. And so, but it's people like you that are really trying to come against that, you know, and it's, I mean, I just want to tell you it's working, man.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, David, for example, I mean, I feel like I love what you guys are doing because you're showing that we just didn't just woke up and say, hey, I want to build a coffee shop like David did, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, David will tell you, he went to mentorship. I mean, he worked with John. He came to me and we talked about how he should have a walk-in. Like, it's not just, you know, you wake up and you're successful. You know, everybody goes through a struggle. And I think people in Topeka need to understand that. It's not just you woke up and now you have a business. It's you woke up and you learned. And you're going to learn every single day until you get it right. You know, that's the mentality that we should be doing. And I feel that Topeka now, with private investor in the city, I think the big chance is that we are actually now investing in ourselves. We
Not
realize,
just feel from the outside.
Exactly.
Wow,
we realize we have an art district.
Wow.
We realize we have a downtown. We realize we have Westboro, Oakland. Now the city's saying, now let's invest in ourselves instead of looking everywhere. Like now we're saying we can do it instead of hiring somebody else to come in, a chain or whatever, which back then, if you think about it, it was nothing but chains.
Yeah.
They outsource.
Yeah.
Now we're finding out that we have talented people. We just have to get them the resources.
Wow.
And we need to believe in ourselves. Honestly, I feel like to whoever's out there that, you know, complains about, oh, it will never happen, it will never this, you know, I would challenge this because you haven't tried. You know, and anybody that's trying, that is probably down, just know that you're leagues ahead of the person that's sitting down on the couch complaining.
Wow.
So keep that in mind. You know, like you don't give up. It's not easy. You know, and any entrepreneur that you ask, they'll tell you the same thing. It's not easy. It's a lot of hustles, a lot of sacrifice. Just don't lose yourself.
Yeah.
Like, have priorities.
So good.
You know, don't lose yourself. And I think we can make Topeka, we can make any city can make their city good. We just need to understand that we can do it and help our new generation and our 16th generation and our next generation how to do things, how to be prideful in our city, how to love where you are. And this whole the grass is greener on the other side, you know, stop looking at that. Water your own grass. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you need to do. Water your own grass so you can actually, like, you know, sit down and relax on it. Why look at somebody else's?
That is amazing advice. That is amazing advice right there. Yeah. All right, man. Well, dude, you're a rock star. We really appreciate you. And especially rolling with some of our technical difficulties.
Oh, you're fine.
You're a man. You're the man. So, hey, are you active on social media?
I am.
Where can people find you?
I think my Facebook is Pedro Concepcion and my Instagram is Pedro Concepcion. So, and then we have Kid Solutions. So yeah. All right. Sweet. Wheelbarrow. Yeah, the Wheelbarrow as well. I can get emails there too.
Great.
Yeah, I have my email. I think it's very simple. It's pedro@thewheelbarrow.com.
And it's Wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Dude, well, man, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Man, would encourage you to invest. Man, come spend your money at the Wheelbarrow and some of the other places here in Noto. But this has been another Look Around podcast episode here with Pedro Concepcion or Conception. Conception. So, hey, you can find this on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.